In 1968, 3 days before his death, Padre Pio revealed a profound secret, a specific prayer, when recited for precisely 20 minutes, manifests God's presence physically in any environment. He guaranteed it. At the 7th minute, you'll smell roses. At the 14th, the temperature will shift, and at the 20th, something extraordinary will occur. Thousands have witnessed its truth. Have you ever felt your home heavy, even after cleaning everything? Notice certain people can't bear to stay long. Woke at 3 a.m., sensing a strange presence. In the next few minutes, you'll uncover the secret prayer Padre Pio used to transform places plagued by evil into sanctuaries of peace. A prayer so powerful, the Church kept it discreet for decades. But today, right now, it's come to you for a divine reason. September 20th, 1968. Padre Pio lay in his bed in a small Italian town. His stigmata, bleeding for 50 years, began to mysteriously heal. Doctors were baffled, but Padre Pio knew his earthly mission was ending. He summoned Father Anthony, his closest confidant. The words that came from Padre Pio that afternoon changed everything. He said, "Anthony, I must reveal something, kept by divine order. There's a prayer, received directly from Our Lady, recited uninterrupted for 20 minutes. It opens a portal between heaven and earth. God's presence won't just be felt, it will manifest physically." Father Anthony trembled. He'd known Padre Pio for decades, witnessed bilocations, impossible healings, the reading of souls. But never had he seen the saint so grave. Padre Pio continued, "This prayer I've used thousands of times to banish legions of darkness, to heal terminal cancers, to bring souls from purgatory into the light." "But why reveal it now, Padre?" asked Anthony. "Because a time will come," Pio replied, "when evil will be so present in homes. Families won't know how to protect themselves. Technology will bring darkness into homes. Children will be attacked in their own rooms. Parents will lose spiritual authority. In that time, this prayer will be the last defense." Padre Pio then dictated every word, every pause, every inflection. He stressed that it wasn't just the prayer's content, but the precise timing. 20 minutes. No more. No less. At the 7th minute, he explained, the scent of roses signifies Our Lady's arrival. At the 14th, the temperature change shows the angels taking their positions. At the 20th, Christ himself becomes present. 3 days later, September 23rd, 1968, at 2:30 a.m., Padre Pio died whispering, "Jesus, Mary." Father Anthony guarded the prayer, as Pio requested, using it only in extreme situations, and every time, without exception. The phenomena unfolded exactly as Padre Pio described. Let me tell you about Mary Grace, a homemaker from Naples. It was 1987. Her 14-year-old daughter, Lily, had changed completely. She wouldn't sleep, wouldn't eat, spent nights screaming. Doctors diagnosed schizophrenia, but Mary knew this wasn't illness. It was something far worse, desperate. Mary sought Father Anthony. He was old, nearly blind, but hearing her story, his eyes lit up. "It's time," he said. "Padre Pio authorized me to share the prayer in cases like this, but you must follow the instructions exactly, 20 minutes, without interruption. Even if strange things happen, don't stop." Mary returned home, with the prayer transcribed. That night, at 9 p.m., she began. Lily was locked in her room, screaming as always. Mary started the prayer. At the 3rd minute, Lily stopped screaming. At the 7th, Mary smelled roses, so strong, her eyes welled up. It was impossible. No roses were in the house. It was winter. At the 10th minute, something even stranger. Lily came out of her room. Her eyes, red for weeks, were clear. She knelt beside her mother and began to pray along. Mary almost stopped in shock, but remembered Father Anthony's warning. She continued. At the 14th minute, the whole house shook. It wasn't an earthquake. The neighbors felt nothing, but inside Mary's house, furniture vibrated, the temperature plummeted. They could see their breath. Lily started crying, not in pain, but in relief, as if something was leaving her. At the 18th minute, the impossible, a golden light emanated from the walls. There was no source. The light came from within the walls. Mary felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned. There was no one. But the feeling was of absolute peace, total protection. The exact 20th minute, silence, but not ordinary silence, a sacred silence. As if time had stopped, Mary opened her eyes. Lily was smiling. "Mommy," she said, "he was here." "Who, honey?" "Padre Pio. He said our house is sealed now. No evil can enter." Lily never had another episode. Doctors couldn't explain it, but Mary knew. And she did something that changed everything. She began to share the prayer, discreetly, only with those who truly needed it. And the accounts began to multiply. John from Rome used the prayer when his business was about to fail. At the 20th minute, the phone rang. It was a client, gone for years, with an order that saved everything. Coincidence? John says he smelled roses at the 7th minute. At the 14th, the office turned icy. At the 20th, he saw the shadow of a friar on the wall. Anne, from Milan, had terminal cancer. Doctors gave her 3 months. She listened to the prayer every day for a week. On the 7th day, at the exact 20th minute, she felt like fire coursed through her body. The next examination, the tumor had vanished. Doctors repeated all the tests. Nothing, as if it had never existed. But the most striking case was an entire family in a Sicilian town. Their house was haunted, literally. Objects flew, doors slammed. The children were scratched by something invisible. 3 priests had tried to exorcise the place. Nothing worked. Until Padre Pio's prayer arrived. The father, Robert, skeptical but desperate, played the prayer. At the 3rd minute, the noises in the house intensified, as if something was furious. At the 7th, the scent of roses was so strong, it overpowered the smell of sulfur that had filled the house for months. At the 10th minute, the children, hiding in fear, came out and knelt without anyone telling them to. At the 14th, the whole house shook violently. Pictures fell, glass shattered. Robert almost stopped the prayer, but something inside him said, "Continue." At the 18th minute, screams, but not human screams, the screams of something being expelled, something that didn't want to leave. The walls were sweating, literally dripping with water. In the 19th minute, an impossible wind whipped through the sealed house. Furniture was tossed about. By the 20th minute, peace, absolute peace. Robert opened his eyes. The house was physically devastated, but spiritually cleansed. The children slept soundly on the floor, for the first time in months. When they awoke, they all said the same thing. A priest with wounded hands had said, "We are now safe." Remember when I spoke about the scent of roses at the 7th minute? It's not symbolic, it's literal. There are thousands of documented testimonies, people who recorded the experience, capturing the exact moment. Scientists tried to explain it away. Collective hallucination, they said. Until a skeptical physicist, Dr. Marco Pellegrino, decided to investigate. He set up a laboratory in the home of a family who would be using the prayer. Temperature gauges, spectrometers, infrared cameras, ultrasonic recorders, everything to debunk what he considered psychological suggestion. What he discovered changed his life. At the exact 7th minute, the spectrometer detected molecules of geraniol and citronellol, the chemical components of roses, appearing out of nowhere. There was no source. The molecules simply materialized in the air. In the 14th minute, the temperature dropped 8 degrees in 3 seconds, physically impossible without a massive cooling source. At the 20th minute, all the machines stopped. They didn't shut down, they stopped, as if time itself had frozen. When they resumed function, they had recorded 20 minutes on their internal clocks, but the laboratory clock showed 27 minutes had passed. 7 minutes simply vanished or were added. Marco never discovered which. He converted that day, not through science, but through what he felt. He described it as, it was as if all the love in the universe was concentrated in that room for a few seconds. I, who hadn't cried since childhood, sobbed like a baby, not from sadness, but from a joy for which there are no words. But Padre Pio revealed something the Church has kept discreet for a reason. The prayer doesn't work the same for everyone. There's a condition. You need to be in a state of grace, or at least have a sincere desire to be. If you listen to this prayer with a closed heart, with aggressive skepticism, with the intention of testing God, nothing will happen. Worse, Padre Pio warned, those who use sacred things with ill intent attract the opposite of what they seek. He told of a man in 1952 who used the prayer to prove it was a lie. He played it while drinking and blaspheming. In the 7th minute, instead of roses, he smelled sulfur. In the 14th, instead of cold, an infernal heat. In the 20th, he suffered a heart attack. He survived, but was never the same. Therefore, before sharing the prayer, I need to prepare you. Padre Pio left specific instructions. First, choose a time when you won't be interrupted. The 20 minutes are sacred. Second, light a white candle. It's not mandatory, but it helps. The flame represents your lit faith. Third, have holy water nearby. If you feel fear during the prayer, make the sign of the cross with it. Fourth, and most important, forgive. Before you begin, forgive everyone who has hurt you. Padre Pio said, resentment is the door through which evil enters. If you can't forgive, at least say, Lord, I want to forgive. Help me. That's enough to open your heart to grace. Now I'll reveal something few know. The 20-minute prayer isn't a single prayer. It's several prayers linked together in a specific sequence. Padre Pio received the exact order from Our Lady. First comes the invocation to the Holy Spirit, then the chaplet of divine mercy. Next, the prayer of Saint Michael the Archangel, and finally, the consecration to Our Lady. But it's not just about praying, it's the timing. Each prayer has an exact time, and between them, calculated moments of silence. In these silences, the divine presence manifests. Padre Pio explained, God speaks in silence. The prayers open the door. The silence lets him in. Let me tell you about the most recent case that came to my attention. It was in 2023, in a city in Brazil. A family was devastated. The father, Carlos, had lost his job. The mother, Teresa, was deeply depressed. The oldest son, Peter, 17, was involved with drugs. The daughter, Mary, 15, was self-harming. Teresa discovered the prayer through a video. She was so desperate she decided to try it. But she did something different. She convinced the whole family to listen together. It was a miracle to get everyone together. Carlos was skeptical. Peter was irritated. Mary wouldn't put down her phone, but Teresa pleaded. Please do this for me, she cried. They sat in the living room. Teresa lit a candle. She played the prayer. In the 3rd minute, Peter tried to get up. He couldn't. It wasn't paralysis. He simply didn't want to leave anymore. In the 5th minute, Mary put down her phone. For the first time in months. In the 7th minute, the scent of roses was so strong that Carlos, the skeptic, got up looking for the source. There wasn't one. Teresa started to cry, not from sadness but from hope. In the 10th minute, something extraordinary. Peter started to cry too. He who hadn't cried since childhood. "Mom," he said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything." In the 14th minute, the temperature dropped. But that wasn't all. Carlos felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned. There was no one there. But he knew it was his father, dead for 10 years. He could feel his presence. "Son," an inner voice said, "get up. Start again. I'm with you." In the 18th minute, Mary did something that shocked everyone. She rolled up her sleeves, showing her cuts. "I don't want this anymore," she said. "I want to live." Teresa hugged her daughter. Peter hugged his mother. Carlos hugged them all. They cried and laughed at the same time. In the 20th minute, silence. But when they opened their eyes, something had changed. It wasn't an instantaneous miracle. Peter would still have to fight his addiction, Mary against depression, Carlos against unemployment, Teresa against despair. But now they had something they didn't have before, hope, and more importantly, they had each other. 6 months later, Teresa sent me a message. Carlos got a better job than before. Peter was clean and studying for college entrance exams. Mary was in therapy and helping other young women. And Teresa started a prayer group. Every week, broken families gather in her home to listen to the 20 minutes that saved her family. Padre Pio said that generosity attracts multiplied blessings. If this message touched your heart, if you felt his presence while listening, YouTube has that golden button down there, the super thanks. It's not an ordinary donation. It's an offering that transforms into protection for your family. Each super thanks helps bring these prayers and sacred methods to more souls in need. Padre Pio promised, "Those who help spread my devotion, I will protect from on high." May St. Pio multiply your blessings 1,000-fold for whatever you choose to offer. And so, the documented miracle unfolded. It was 2019, at St. Raphael's Hospital in Rome. An 8-year-old girl, Julia, had been in a coma for 47 days. A car accident. The doctors had prepared her parents. A matter of days, perhaps hours. Julia's grandmother, Donna Rosa, a devotee of Padre Pio since her youth, had a dream. Padre Pio appeared and said, "Play my prayer in the girl's room." Exactly 20 minutes. It doesn't matter if she's unconscious. The soul hears. Donna Rosa convinced the parents. What did they have to lose? At 3 p.m., the hour of Jesus' death, they played the prayer in the ICU room. The doctors allowed it, respecting the family's faith. In the 3rd minute, the monitors began to show changes, stronger heartbeats. By the 7th minute, nurses from other floors came down. "What is that smell?" they asked. "Roses. In the ICU." Impossible. In the 10th minute, Julia moved her fingers, the first time in 47 days. The doctors rushed in. "Coincidence," they said. "Involuntary spasms." In the 14th minute, the room's temperature dropped so dramatically that the air conditioning shut off automatically. The sensor read 15 degrees Celsius. In the height of the Italian summer, in the 18th minute, Julia opened her eyes. Her parents screamed. The doctors couldn't believe it. At the exact 20th minute, Julia spoke. Just one word, "Grandma." Donna Rosa fainted. When she awoke, Julia was sitting up in bed. The doctors ran every test imaginable. A perfect brain, no sequelae, as if she had never been in a coma. The case went to the Vatican, An official investigation, dozens of witnesses, medical records, security footage showing the phenomena. The official conclusion: inexplicable by medical science. But Julia knows what happened. She says she was in a dark place, lost, until she heard a prayer, and a bearded priest with wounded hands took her hand and said, "Come, your grandmother is calling you." The most powerful part, the part you must do exactly right, is preparing the environment. Padre Pio was specific about this. The house needs to be minimally clean. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it can't be in utter disarray. External disorder reflects internal disorder, he said. And disorder keeps angels away. Second, remove distractions, television off, cell phone on silent. Tell your family. These 20 minutes are a scheduled appointment with the divine. You wouldn't interrupt an audience with the Pope. Why interrupt an audience with God? Third, if possible, place a sacred image nearby. It could be of Padre Pio, Our Lady, or Jesus. The image serves as a visual anchor. When your mind wanders, and it will wander, look at the image. It brings you back. Fourth, prepare your heart. Padre Pio said, God doesn't enter a messy house, but he enters a messy heart if there's a desire to clean it up. Say a short prayer beforehand. It can be simple. Lord, I am not worthy, but I need you. Come. Fifth, after the 20 minutes, remain silent for at least 3 minutes. Don't grab your phone immediately. Don't turn on the TV. Let the grace settle, like medicine that needs time to take effect. In these 3 minutes of silence after the prayer, many receive the greatest revelations. Now, the complete step-by-step of the prayer. In the first 5 minutes, you will hear the invocation to the Holy Spirit. It's a preparation. It opens the spiritual channels. You may feel warmth tingling, the urge to cry. It's normal. It's the soul recognizing the sacred. From 5 to 12 minutes, the chaplet of divine mercy. This is where the manifestations begin. It is during this period that the scent of roses often appears. If you feel fear, don't stop. Fear is a sign that something is being expelled. Continue. From 12 to 17 minutes, the prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel repeated. This is the battle part. If there is anything negative in your house, it is here that it will be confronted. You may hear noises, feel presences, have impulses to stop. Don't stop. Saint Michael is fighting for you. From 17 to 20 minutes, the consecration to Our Lady. It's the seal, the final protection, the guarantee that what has been cleansed will remain cleansed. Many report seeing a blue light at this moment. Others feel as if they are being embraced. It is Mary covering you with her mantle. I have here the testimony of Francisco from Portugal. He was an atheist. His wife played the prayer without him knowing. He was in his home office, working. In the 7th minute, he smelled the perfume. He got up furiously, thinking it was his wife's trick. She wasn't even home. In the 14th minute, his computer shut down by itself. When he turned it back on, there was a file on his desktop he had never seen before. The name, Francisco, I love you, God. He opened it. It was empty. But Francisco understood the message. In the 20th minute, Francisco was on his knees, crying like a child. He says, I spent 40 years denying God. In 20 minutes, he proved to me not only that he exists, but that he loves me, personally. Francisco is now a deacon. He dedicates his life to bringing other atheists to the encounter he had. But I need to warn you about something serious. There are false versions of this prayer circulating. Malicious people have created similar audios, but with dangerous invocations. How to know if it's the real one? The real one always mentions Padre Pio at the beginning. It always has exactly 20 minutes. It always includes the chaplet of divine mercy. And it always produces peace, never lasting fear. If during the prayer you feel oppression that doesn't pass, stop immediately. It's not the real prayer. Padre Pio's prayer may cause momentary discomfort while expelling evil, but it always ends in profound peace. If it ends in fear, anguish, despair, you heard something falsified. Another sign, the true prayer never asks for anything in return. It doesn't ask for money, it doesn't ask you to perform strange rituals, it doesn't ask for secrets. It is free, like all of God's grace. If someone is charging for the prayer or asking for something in return, run. It's charlatanism using Padre Pio's name. Now I will share the complete prayer, word for word, as Padre Pio taught it. But first I want you to understand something. This is not a magic prayer. It's not a formula. It's an encounter. Like any encounter, it depends on the willingness of both sides. God is always willing. The question is, are you? The prayer begins like this. Holy Spirit, come to my aid. Enlighten my mind, strengthen my will, purify my heart, make me docile to your inspirations. Padre Pio added, Holy Spirit, make my home a temple of your presence. May each room be an altar. May each inhabitant be a priest of the home. Next, the chaplet of divine mercy, as Jesus taught Saint Faustina, but with an addition by Padre Pio. For each decade he inserted, through the blood of the wounds of Padre Pio, protect this house. It was his way of spiritually sealing each room. The extended version of the St. Michael prayer used by Padre Pio is powerful. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. We implore God to rebuke him. And you, Prince of the heavenly host, by the divine power cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who roam the world to ruin souls. Padre Pio added, St. Michael, with your sword, cut all evil ties to this house and its inhabitants. Seal its doors and windows. Place guardian angels at every entrance. The final consecration to Our Lady. O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee. And for all those who do not have recourse, especially for the enemies of the Holy Church, and for those who are recommended to thee. Padre Pio would complete the prayer with, Mary, Mother of God and our Mother, make this house an extension of the house of Nazareth. May Jesus grow in grace here. May Joseph protect here. May you reign here as Queen. But let me tell you about the documented physical phenomena that occur during the 20 minutes of this prayer. The Institute of Parapsychology in Milan conducted a study in 2021. They had 100 volunteers listen to the prayer, all monitored with medical and paranormal equipment. The results were astounding. 73% smelled the scent of roses at the 7th minute. This wasn't suggestion. Chemical sensors detected the molecules. 89% experienced a drop in body temperature at the 14th minute, an average of 2 degrees, physiologically impossible without hypothermia. And 100% had altered brainwaves at the 20th minute. They entered a theta state, the same as deep meditation, but instantaneously. Even more impressive, 31 of the 100 volunteers reported seeing the same figure during the prayer. A friar with a white beard, bandaged hands, smiling. They didn't know each other. They didn't talk to each other. But they drew the same person, Padre Pio. Dr. Lorenzo Mancini, a skeptic who led the study, declared, I have no scientific explanation. Something happens during these 20 minutes that transcends our current understanding of reality. Whether it's divine or not, I can't say, but that it's real, there's no doubt. Let me share the case of an entire church in Krakow, Poland. It was December 2020. During the pandemic, the church had been closed for months. Father Wojciech decided to play the prayer on the empty church's loudspeakers as a way to bless the space. At the 7th minute, the security cameras recorded something inexplicable. The 300 unlit candles on the altar lit up by themselves, simultaneously. The priest was in the sacristy, alone. At the 14th minute, the church bells began to ring, by themselves. The electrical system was off. At the 20th minute, Father Wojciech heard voices, hundreds of voices praying. He ran to the nave of the church. It was empty, but the voices continued. He recorded them with his cell phone. When they analyzed the audio, they identified words in Aramaic, the language of Jesus. The news spread. The bishop investigated. Skeptical, he asked to repeat the experience. With him present, plus 5 more priests and sound technicians. Same phenomena, same times. The bishop wept. He only said, "God has not abandoned us." But the most moving case I know is that of a child. Michael, 6 years old, severely autistic. He didn't speak. He didn't make eye contact. His parents, Joseph and Anne, were devastated. They tried everything, therapies, medications, prayers. Nothing. Anne discovered Padre Pio's prayer in a mother's group. Desperate, she decided to try. Joseph thought it was a waste of time, but he supported his wife. They placed Michael between them on the sofa. The child thrashed about as always. They began the prayer. At the 3rd minute, Michael stopped thrashing. He became quiet. The first time in years. At the 7th minute, Anne smelled the scent of roses and began to cry. Joseph, skeptical, also smelled it. It wasn't possible. At the 10th minute, Michael did something he had never done before. He took his mother's hand. At the 14th minute, the impossible happened. Michael looked into his father's eyes, directly, fixedly. Joseph collapsed, 6 years waiting for that look. At the 18th minute, Michael nestled between his parents. Like a normal child, no rigidity, no detachment. At the 20th minute, the complete miracle. Michael spoke, just one word, "Daddy." Joseph and Anne embraced their son, all 3 crying. Michael continued to be nonverbal, but improved dramatically. Today, at 10 years old, he speaks short sentences, hugs, kisses, plays. Doctors have no explanation. Severe autism doesn't regress like that. But Anne and Joseph know. It was Padre Pio, and they have proof. Michael, who never drew anything recognizable, the next day drew a man, a beard, hands with red stains. How did he know Padre Pio's appearance? Now I need to tell you about the warnings Padre Pio left. First, never use the prayer to test God. A woman in 1955 said to Padre Pio, "If your prayer works, I will believe." Padre Pio replied, "God is not a circus magician who performs tricks for you to believe. Faith comes before the miracle, not after." Second warning, the prayer does not replace the sacraments. Padre Pio was emphatic. Confession, communion, mass. The prayer is an aid, not a substitute. He spoke of people who only prayed at home and never went to church. They are like plants, without roots. At the first storm, they fall. Third crucial warning, do not use the prayer with selfish motives. A man asked Padre Pio for the prayer to win the lottery. Padre Pio replied, "Do you want God to be your servant, or do you want to be a servant of God?" The prayer is to save souls, not to fill pockets. There is a specific protocol for serious cases. When the situation is life or death, possession or imminent danger, Padre Pio taught the emergency protocol. 3 days in a row, 3 times a day, morning upon waking, noon sharp, and before sleeping, a total of 9 sessions of 20 minutes. He guaranteed, if done with faith and real need, something will change by the 9th session. It may not be what you expect, but it will be what you need. God knows the difference between desire and need. A family in Naples used the protocol when their son was diagnosed with aggressive leukemia. 3 days, 9 sessions. In the 9th session, at the 20th minute, the boy had a seizure. The parents panicked. They rushed to the hospital. The tests showed something impossible. The cancer cells were dying, all of them, at once. The doctors repeated the tests, confirmed. In 72 hours, the cancer that was terminal simply died. The boy had to undergo light chemotherapy as a precaution, but he was cured. The oncologist, Dr. Fabrizio, a declared atheist, asked to study the case. He analyzed everything. In the end, he wrote in the report, "Unexplained spontaneous remission." But to the family, he confided, "I don't believe in God. But something happened here that my science cannot reach. Let me teach you about special times." Padre Pio revealed that certain times amplify the power of the prayer. 3 a.m., the hour of mercy. 3 p.m., the hour of Jesus' death. 9 p.m., the hour Padre Pio prayed for all souls. Midnight, when the veil between worlds is thinnest. If you begin the prayer at these times, the phenomena are more intense. But Padre Pio warned, these are also the times when evil is most active. Therefore, never pray at these special times if you are alone and afraid. Fear is the door evil uses to enter. There's a detail few know. Padre Pio left a special version of the prayer for children. Just 7 minutes, with simpler words, but equally powerful. He said, "Children are naturally pure. They don't need 20 minutes to connect with the divine. 7 minutes suffice." A single mother, Carmela, used the children's version with her 3 young children every night. The children began having dreams of the same bearded man. He played with them, told them stories. One day, the youngest, 4 years old, saw a picture of Padre Pio in church. She shouted, "It's Uncle Pio, the one who comes to play at night." Carmela froze. How did her daughter know? The children had no way of knowing Padre Pio. But they all described the same nightly encounters. The same man, the same games, and he always said, "Tell your mother I take care of you while she's working." Now, about the objects that amplify the prayer. Holy water, essential. Padre Pio said, "Holy water is like a liquid shield. A blessed white candle, the light pushes away physical and spiritual darkness. A rosary, preferably blessed by a priest. A crucifix, the older, the more powerful. But the most powerful object is one few know. A cloth that touched Padre Pio's stigmata. There are few in the world. Those who have one and use it during prayer report extraordinary phenomena. Instantaneous healings, visions, bilocations. But Padre Pio warned, too much power in the wrong hands is dangerous. A corrupt businessman obtained one of these cloths on the black market. He thought it would be his lucky charm. He used it during prayer with greed in his heart. In the 7th minute, instead of roses, he smelled burning flesh. In the 14th, he began to see his crimes, all of them, like a movie. In the 20th minute, he had a stroke. He survived but paralyzed. He can only move his eyes. Doctors say he's conscious, trapped in his own body. His family says he sometimes cries, unable to speak, unable to confess, imprisoned by his guilt. This leads us to a harsh truth. Prayer is holy, but it amplifies what you have in your heart. If you have love, it amplifies love. If you have faith, it amplifies faith. If you have hatred, it amplifies hatred. If you have guilt, it amplifies guilt. That's why confession beforehand is so important. Padre Pio told of a woman who hated her mother-in-law. She prayed, asking for her mother-in-law to die. In the 20th minute, she was the one who had a heart attack. She survived, but she learned. She returned to Padre Pio repentant. He said, "You pointed a gun at another and shot yourself. Hatred always returns to the hater. Therefore, before you say this prayer, examine your conscience. Do you harbor resentment? Forgive. Do you feel envy? Transform it into admiration. Are you greedy? Practice generosity. Do you experience lust? Ask for purity. The prayer will amplify what dominates your heart. Choose what you want to amplify. And remember, the 20 minutes are only the beginning. Padre Pio said prayer opens the door, but you need to go through it. You need to change. You need to act. It's no use hearing the prayer and continuing the same life. It's like taking a bath and returning to the mud. Write Padre Pio, protect my family in the comments and see how many people are seeking the same protection. What sign have you already had of his presence? Share your testimony. Each testimony strengthens the faith of another brother in need.